Well, for your entertainment, we are spending a Sunday in Meriden, one of the poshest hotels in the centre of the country, at the Bachmann product launch for 2018. And I thought it'd be rather interesting if we gave you a bit of a look round to see what happens at one of these events and see some of the new products that are going to be available in this year and forthcoming years. Now, we're down in the trade room because most of the people here are from the model trade, and so you'll actually, as you swings around, you might recognise a few of the faces from your local shop. And they're here not just for railways but for the entire Bachmann group of products. So let's start with a little bit of a walk around the room, and we're starting off here where we've got the Woodland Scenics products. And there's a couple of Woodland Scenics displays going on here because obviously this is a big part, and it's actually a very successful part of the entire Bachmann range. Moving on, we've got lots of rock moulds. And again, very, very popular. We've got the rock moulds, we've got the plaster for casting the rocks. Coming around here, we've now got all the packs of people and animals, and it's quite a range of these. Now, obviously, a lot of these have come out of America, but we've got a few British ones going on as well. Carrying on, we've now got the subterranean system for landscapes, including all this stuff which is for inclines, and it's all polystyrene that you can lay and do a nice smooth incline, along with all the plaster cloths and the shaper stuff that you're going to use for building up your landscapes. Hot wire cutters. I mean, it really is quite a comprehensive range here. And then we move on to the plug and play lighting system, and with my garden railway hat on, I'm quite excited to see a good selection of the 16mm scale figures, and that is a range that's come on quite dramatically. Plug and play lights, lots of buildings now complete with plug and play lights, so they are, for the first time we're actually seeing pre-lit, ready to plant buildings. Carrying on round the room, got a bit of whistle stop tour here. Ben has been demonstrating how to make trees up in a few seconds. You too can make a tree using the kit in. I mean, literally, it does take a few seconds to make this tree. I've done it. They're very effective and they're quite useful. I couldn't resist. There's one live demo in the room today, and that's Ben Pollard showing us how he makes the trees. Now, I had a quick look earlier, but I thought we'll come back and see how fast you can make an engaged tree. So, what have we actually got in the pack?
Right, we only need 3 components. You've got the tree armatures there,
which is these plastic bits. These plastic bits here.
Yeah.
Okay.
The plump foliage.
Yeah. Which is the green fluffy stuff.
Yeah.
See our technical terms here.
Yeah,
green
fluffy stuff, absolutely. And then you've got your adhesive, which is this hobby tack. Here, so that's all you need.
You can tell that's an American product, aren't you? Hobby tack.
Hobby tack, yeah. To me and you, it's glue. Right, so that's what you end up with. So take one of these trees, things like that, break the sprue off for the base. Put that down there, and use that later. And these just bend into the shape.
So it's plastic, but you're actually able to bend it and it's holding its shape.
Yes, yeah.
And doesn't break off or anything like that.
Doesn't break off. Takes quite a beating, and you can bend it to whatever shape you like. Form a nice canopy at the top there, or whatever. So
hours of fun.
Hours of fun, absolutely.
No, yeah. Minutes of fun. In fact, seconds of fun. Seconds of fun.
Done your tree.
Right.
So you get the hobby tack, and
the hobby tack is a white glue, complete with a brush in the lid.
Yeah, as you can see there.
That's nice.
And then liberally apply.
Doesn't seem to smell, so.
No. So liberally apply that to the top there, on the places where you would expect to find leaves. So you don't want it on the trunk because
leaves don't grow on the trunk. Fair enough.
On the trunk, not on this tree anyway.
Certainly, that's good. So they're giving you a good smear with the hobby tack.
Yeah.
And coating both sides as well, obviously, so that you get a good clump of foliage.
Absolutely.
Once it goes on there.
Yeah, I mean this stuff really is decent, it does not let go. So it might not look like you're doing a lot, but it's enough.
Yeah, you've not put very much on that. I mean, that glue is going to go a long way, looking at how thin a smear you've put on there.
That's done a lot of shows, that has. And it's still over half full, so plenty of life left in that yet. So this takes, you don't want to put this straight into your foliage like that, because it doesn't work so well. So what you do is you leave that for 10 minutes.
Right.
Just so it just goes off.
Right. And here's some you did earlier.
And here's some I did earlier, sticking to my hand. See, that's how strong that stuff is even after 10 minutes. I can still pick it up by just putting my hand near it.
Okay, and now you've got a pot full of the clump material.
Yeah, which I've just comes out of the packet like that, and then you just take your sprue, give it a bit of a
swish around in the clump foliage.
Shake off the excess. And you end up with something that almost looks like a tree.
Yeah, suddenly you've got a tree.
Yeah.
And there's a little base, so you can either stand it on the base as it comes, or you can, in fact, to be honest, most of us will drill a little hole because there's a little spigot there. Drill a hole, stick a bit of glue, stick it in straight into the layout, and there we are, instant tree.
Yeah, and you can still work with it as well after it's got the foliage on, just to shape it a bit more.
Once you put it into place, if you need to bend a branch out of the way or anything, you can still do that. But that really was fast, and you could knock out an awful lot of these things in about 5 minutes. Yeah. But the longest bit is the glue drying time.
Yeah, well, that's when you go and make a cup of tea, isn't it?
Yeah, cup of tea. Yeah. That's a nice idea. But that sounds like a good idea. Cheers, Ben. We'll go and have a cup of tea then.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cheers.
A new range here. This is the Model Maker Tools range. It's not stuff you haven't seen elsewhere, but it's all coming out of the group. It's part of the whole package of bringing together all the model making stuff. And then we move on to the Prozis range. Now, this is obviously not model railways. This is slot car stuff. So if you've got your Scale Electrics or other slot car systems are available, and it's a surprisingly big hobby. You've now got laser cut buildings, boards, stuff for truing up your tyres. Don't look at me, I do trains, but it's stuff for truing up your tyres and lights and everything like that. Carrying on, we've now got the Prozis. We've got the Prozis range of tools, which I know we've shown some of in the magazine already. But we've got things like this is new. This is a re-railing device. Plug it into the track at this end, drop a loco on here, it'll run on and off the re-railing device. Apparently this range is going exceptionally well as well. I've been asking them how it's been going. All coming out of Turkey, so the guys really got an eye for the right sort of tools. And then we move over to the W Britain's section. Lots and lots of soldiers, but it's an RAF display, so we have lots of stuff from the pocket bond world, because then Bachmann is much bigger than just the model railways. So we've got the pocket bond stuff, again proving very, very popular. Loads of aircraft kits, and very nice little dam busters set here with the back end of a Lancaster, and all the figures you need for your dam busters crew as well. To be honest, if you're a big kid, you can even have some flying model planes. Okay, I've collared Neil Fraser here, who is Mr. Pocket Bond, really. You're a sales rep for the Midland County?
For the home counties around the M25 for Bachmann railway products and other related products.
But more importantly, you are the development man for Pocket Bond.
For Pocket Bond plastic model kits, and also for the die cast.
Okay.
Right,
now Pocket Bond has got a huge catalogue.
It has a very big back catalogue of injection moulded plastic model kits from a variety of manufacturers. We are the exclusive importers in the UK for Trumpeter, Academy, Roden, HK models, and such like.
And how are they doing? I mean, obviously we're familiar with the railway world, but how is the world of plastic kits going? I mean,
buoyant. Yes, there's an awesome array of models coming out every month from the manufacturers we represent. We have probably 10 or 15 new models regularly, new models every month without fail.
That's brilliant, and there is there is a surprising amount of crossover there between that and the model railway world. But simply, if you like making stuff, Pocket
Yes.
Bond are worth a nose.
Indeed, yes. It's all a very creative prospect. Build straight from the box, or you can add aftermarket products and weathering products and, to build the model of your dreams. Really.
Excellent. Now, we're looking at the RAF 100 years displayed here.
Yes, commemorating of the 100 years of RAF this year.
Now, the range here, is there anything new for it, or is this just showing how vast the Pocket Bond world is?
Well, it is the latter. It is to show a selection. There is more, but there's RAF-related products that we have in the catalogue. Coming out this year will be the Lancaster bomber in 1 to 32nd scale.
That's going to be a serious size piece.
A large piece of kit.
What's the wingspan on that?
Off the top of my head, I haven't got that dimension to hand, but it's going to be.
It's going to be a huge model. It's going to be. I mean, the Britain stuff. That's 1/32.
That is the same scale.
Right. Okay. So
this
is the back end of a Lancaster.
That is the back end. It's slightly disproportionate.
It's shrunk on one side, but I mean, the tail alone is 6 inches.
Yeah. So
when you look at
magnify that up. So
that's going to be a serious. That's going to be a serious model, and of course, the surprising amount of the larger scale aircraft. I mean, we've got the 1/32 Mosquito as well. I'm amazed people can find space for this sort of thing, but they certainly love it.
Our best-selling kits are the larger ones. In aircraft and ships and tanks. So
now that would sound a little counterintuitive, because actually what you're saying is the best-selling kits are actually the most expensive ones as well.
That's what our data shows.
Right. But what we're saying is, presumably the larger kits are that much more detailed, and presumably that means the plastic modelers are really willing to they're willing to pay for that detail because it's part of the whole experience.
Indeed, yes. The larger the mouldings, the more interior detail that can be put in place. Yeah.
And the more pleasure you get from building the thing, even if you haven't got to work out how you're going to hang it from the ceiling.
Yes, some of these are getting built as well, so they're not all loft stash models. Yes, they are getting built, and we do see repeat orders.
I was going to say, do you get people sending photos of stuff they've built? I mean, we're seeing the results in places.
From time to time, yes, we do. There are a lot of active forums where modelers share their build experiences
in the same way
in good and bad.
Exactly
the same. Yes.
Yeah, so. Okay, that's great. Oh, and if people are wanting to get their hands on some of the Pocket Bond range and this sort of thing, where should they be looking for?
All Bachmann retailers.
So all the Bachmann retailers
can order in and stock all of the kits that Pocket Bond have in the catalogue.
So what you're saying is drop down to your local model shop, order the stuff from the Bachmann range, and then you can also order yourself a 1/32 Lancaster. And then finally, as we chase people out of the way, we get to the cabinet that everybody's getting very excited about, which is the one full of model railways. Now, this is an unusual press event for Bachmann in that we've actually, for the first time, got items that we didn't know about, and they're in the cabinet. They've stopped, they've managed to get themselves to a position they want to be in, which is that instead of announcing stuff and then it's 4 years away because there's loads of work involved, some of this stuff we didn't know about and it's here. So the H1 Atlantic is a development of a model in the existing range, the C1, but this is the version with the curved footplate. And we knew about the J72, that was announced last year, that's great, but the early version of the J72 is here as well, and that will go through the same batch and same production schedule as the later J72, so this will be in your shops later on this year, and we've only found out about it in January. Loads of other good stuff in here. Obviously we're seeing quite a bit of the 009 range, because that's sold exceptionally well. You know, they've sold out of the Baldwins of the first batch, and they've had to increase the production run. But new in this year in the cabinet is a set of slate wagons. Why is there a set of slate wagons? Because one of the items that has been announced is a Norwick 009 shunter. 009 loco. It's going to be about this long and absolutely beautiful. So I expect that'll be flying off the shelves. To go with the Baldwins, there's also some Ashover light railway wagons. This is the W wagon in Ashover colours, and there will be an Ashover coach to go with that as well. More stuff in the Seacraft range. I particularly like little industrial building set round here. I can see lots and lots of uses for that. Again, we didn't know about that till today. I can just look at that and think, for that corner of the layout, you can build all that stuff. It's modular. You can place it in different ways, and it's got the real look of industry. Going to be so much quicker. N-Gage and 00 get an exciting new addition, and that is the Western Region Pullman, which is the later version of the blue Pullman we all know and love, which gains these really very, very beautiful connections on the end, the electrical connections to allow the two units to run in multiple. It's a great aesthetic improvement. I'm sure nobody will agree. But this pack here, this is a train set, and it's going to come with the full the Western 6-car Western Pullman, Dynamis controller and the software. It's designed as a sort of complete train set pack. The Pullman sound, yes, because it's going to have sound. The Pullman sound is being developed from some cine film that they have found, and the units will have a sound chip in each, so that you get that characteristic sound of the one end starting up before the other. So it actually has that proper roar that a lot of people remember. Don't forget that another thing, EFE is part of the Bachmann range. Now you might think they would just churn out ever more liveries, but I'm told that there's more and more detail now going to EFE, where all the panel lines are being put in, and they're starting to gain wing mirrors. So it's not just a range, it's just sitting there in lots of different colours. I'll be honest, I know nothing about buses other than they never seem to come when I'm waiting for one, but certainly I know there's a lot of bus spotters out there, and of course we all need buses for our layouts, so it's good to see that developing. Moving on round, we then come to the train sets. We've talked about we've got the Pullman train set. We've got 3 more train sets here. Graham Farish Sound Castle, very popular loco apparently last year. Sound Whiskies Galore with the 20 and the DCC setup, and then Station Pilot with the coal tank and 3 coaches, even though it only shows 2 on the front. Nice to see that. Carrying on, a bit of Woodland Scenics. Obviously we all know the Woodland Scenics range, very popular. We'll avoid tripping over the radio control tanks on the floor. You can't have one of those on your layout, they're far too big. But looking at this range of conflicts buildings, this has got loads and loads of potential for railway modellers. I appreciate they're aimed at war gamers, but if you look at something like this, you've got a terrific bombed out house that you can gradually take apart and have it as bombed out or as unbombed out as you would like, slotting the floor and everything back in. So anybody looking at doing a sort of World War I diorama or bits of anything using the Bachmann Baldwins on their layout to go to 009, there you are, there's some buildings. And we finish up with some of the Toyway range, say, with some of the older members of the team. This is some nice dinosaurs. It's toy stuff, but of course the great thing about it is it's all part of the package going into retailers all over the place, and it just shows what a variety the group now has. And you can tell that this stuff's selling well. Looking at the increases they're making in sales this year, so it's a much wider package this day than just the model railways, which is why you get so many of the trade in, and it's worth them spending the time chatting to the guys and hopefully placing some orders. Now, obviously we've got all sorts of trade here, and from some little model shop up in Liverpool, I've got Dave here. You've been in for to see the whole range. It's obviously worth you guys coming all the way down from Liverpool. What's impressed you?
Well, it's a real variety here today, to be honest. I mean, seeing the 009 range expanding is one of the main surprises, but also something we're really glad to see because it's been quite popular. really good support for Engage with some re-liveries there as well, some popular liveries that people have been asking for, including the Pullman and the Research 31 there. A lot of products coming through now as well, seeing a lot of things in the flesh with the crane, the decorated 90s that again a lot of people have been asking about, and seeing them here is really good to see.
And it must be you must be really pleased that with the move to trying to get stuff out very quickly, not announcing it and sitting in pre-order for 4 years. So that's got to be great news for you guys.
Definitely. I mean, people want to buy models at the end of the day. A lot of locos in the cabinets are the final pieces for some people's layouts, really, especially with things like the 90s and the coaches.
And of course, the fascinating thing about this is, of course, we've all been posting stuff onto internet forums. I know it's on your Facebook page and on the website already. And so we're already getting feedback from the modelers out there.
That's it. It's a real 21st century hobby now. People are straight onto it. People are almost expectant, really, to see it right at the start, and we can get it out there. People say what they think straight away.
Yeah, I noticed a couple of people are saying saying they're looking forward to things. The Quarry Hunslet, I noticed, has got a couple of people already getting very excited about, and we haven't actually even got one in here to have a look at. So it's obviously worth you guys coming down and also maintaining the contact with with Bachmann themselves.
That's it as well. It's a good bunch of people here, really. Obviously they know exactly what they're doing, really. The proof's in the cabinets of that. So
ultimately, they've got to listen to you guys, haven't they? Because if you can't sell it, then there's no point in them making it. But
that's it.
You do get to sit with all the competition as well. So it just shows, it's a very friendly business as well. I mean, I've seen no fist fights, no fighting at all. Everybody's been chatting and getting on with each other, and then everybody's heading back off to make sure it's all loaded on the website and look for the orders coming in.
That's it.
Okay, cheers. There's one gentleman I've got to catch today, and that is Bachmann's press officer, Dennis Lovett. Because Dennis, this is your last product announcement day, isn't it?
It certainly is, yes. I retire towards the end of the year.
So this is the first day of the grand tour of the country with all the new products, but the last time you actually have to do it, somebody else gets to do all this next year.
Yeah, next year I shall be like everybody else, looking back and seeing what's been announced, and be some interesting times, I think.
You've been with Bachmann quite a while now.
I've done 13 years, having retired from the big railway. My retirement lasted all of about 3 days, I think, and there was a weekend in between.
That's very good.
Yes, Graham rang me up and said would I come and help him out at Bachmann, and 13 years later I'm retreating.
You're escaping. There must have been some real highs and lows. What have been the best thing about it?
I think the way that we've seen lots of stuff come on, the change in the way we can tool things now, because in the old days we all had one version, and that's all you had. So no matter whether it had been upgraded in real life or whatever, but now of course with the tooling changes we've got, that's a big change in technology for us. We can actually now change the cabs, change the smoke boxes, change the chimneys, change the front ends of diesels without compromising quality, because it's not basically you just slide a new piece in, and that's what happens. But on the older models we can't do that, which is why today you've seen several of the models that are previously available in the Bachmann range. Yes, they've been updated into completely new models.
It's amazing the difference over the time, and of course the hobby must have changed, and the people you're meeting, are they changing as well? Because you do a lot of shows. I
do a lot of shows, yes, virtually every other weekend at certain times of the year, and sometimes every weekend at the very peaks. I see a lot of shows. I've known a lot of people. I wasn't new to model railways. I've been in model railway clubs since I was 15. In fact, the same model railway club since I was 15, and that's coming up to its centenary. Its half centenary next year. Its 50th anniversary. It made me even older, wouldn't it? But there you go. So you can work out how old I am now. I've given all these secrets away. But this will be my second retirement. I retired from the big railway when I was 52. So there you go.
Right, excellent. So I mean, have you enjoyed it? It must have. There's a lot of frustration, highs and lows along the way. But overall, has it been good?
Yeah, it has been very good. There have been frustrations, and I think like everybody else, you get kind of frustrated when things are late or delayed or whatever, and the best way is to find a way around it. I was listening to somebody on the radio this morning talking about public relations, who worked for a public relations company, and they said there's no such thing as bad publicity. So you're right, it's turning a negative into a positive, and that's always been a challenge. So I hope over the last 13 years we've improved the communication with the press, we've improved the communication with the public, we're doing lots more exhibitions than we've ever done before, and I think that's going to continue. So yes, there'll be a different face behind the stand, different face in front of the camera. And I was told many years ago that I had an ideal face for radio, so there you go. But that was on one of those media training courses that the railway used to do, and it was all done to wind you up and see whether you reacted and went off on one. Fortunately, I never did, so there you go. But it's been great fun. I shall still be around model railway exhibitions. Friends of mine have got layouts, the club's got layouts, so I'm not disappearing completely, walking away. I've still got loads of other things to do. Catch up with a backlog of books that need writing about Scottish railways and various other bits and pieces to keep me out of mischief in the years to come, and of course watching the occasional football match.
Well, and you won't miss the midnight phone calls from Andy York complain about things. So I imagine that bit of retirement is going to be wonderful.
Yes, I always said that when I left the real railway, because I did 24-hour on call for the railway industry, and I always said that when I retired I was going to take my mobile phone, leave it on, dig a hole in the garden and fill it in. So yes, I will get away from that, but of course I shall still bump into Andy from time to time, but he'll give me a lot less grief in future.
It's been great. Well, thanks very much, Dennis. It really has been a pleasure knowing you and working with you over these years. And well, we've got a few months before the retirement, so
Yes,
I look forward to seeing you around the rest of this year.
I'm going to sneak out very quietly, that's the plan.
Well, I can't. I've got to finish up by speaking to Dave Harhouse, who's the man in charge around here. So we ought to be nice to him. Dave, how's the day gone so far? You've had a load of retailers in. They've all been doubtless telling you that they're desperate to place orders. And what's the feedback so far?
I think the feedback to this year's range is particularly positive. Nice balanced range, quite logical. It'll be very easy to make a number of announcements that have a very long lead time, which is something that's probably we've fallen victim of in the past. So this year we've managed to concentrate it onto a few announcements which are logical, form part of a balanced range, and are more importantly deliverable within a specific time frame. In fact, this is the first year where we've been able to announce new tooling projects that will be delivered in this year. In fact, one was on the front page of this year's catalogue, the H1, that will be produced at the same time as the H2. And from our personal point of view as a company, we're very, very pleased to be in that situation at last.
It's certainly sounding very positive. I mean, I've been to a few of these things, and this is by far the most positive we've come across. And it's been there's very, very good atmosphere in here. Everybody seems very happy. That's got to be good news for you.
And more importantly, it's good news for our customers. If the feedback at this event is positive, then hopefully, the consumers and collectors, they'll also view it with great aplomb, and hopefully, be placing orders for the new forthcoming products with our customers. And the more model shops that are doing well, the more of a positive nature in the whole industry.
I've got to say, because you are a big supporter of traditional model shops, aren't you? There's not a Bachmann direct sales channel.
No, I mean there's a few items on the club. The collectors club's a sort of separate little thing, but it's certainly not main range product. And
No.
We always try and support our retailers. We understand a lot of us at Bachmann are from a retail background. We understand how the issues that one faces, especially being on the high street, the costs involved in that. So we want to support that, and we certainly not want to be in competition with them. That's for sure.
No, it's excellent. I mean, I'm a big fan of local model shops, and it's how you get people into the hobby.
It is.
At the end of the day, it's great if they can actually walk in off the street and buy something.
Absolutely, and that's where we need to probably think as an industry, because the demise of BTs, the demise of models owners, largely removed large hobby stores from key high streets and city centre locations where the costs are prohibitive for small sort of owner proprietor businesses. And maybe that's something we need to look at as an industry and work together to reintroduce that kind of concept. So on a Saturday afternoon, kids and families can sort of access hobbies, be it whatever, radio controlled cars or plastic kits or trains, but just hobbies.
They are hobbies, and of course this is actually an area where the modelers can help as well. Get yourself and take the family down to if there's a local model shop, get down and support it.
Yeah, and you more often than not, you'll find it as a great experience. The kids love to see things flying around on the ceiling and trains going around in cabinets, and that's how we all got into it, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's great. Anyway, talking of trains going around the cabinets, got to ask you this: what is your favourite ever Bachmann product, past or present? And you've got a lot of products to choose from.
Yeah, a lot of products, a lot of categories, a lot of scales. I mean, in terms of technical achievement and the delivery of superb quality product, I will always default back to the Blue Pullman, Midland Pullman, because there was a project, 6-car train with nothing available to us in terms of resource to go and measure, photograph, survey. So to actually bring that product to market, I think, was an achievement that's going to be hard to surpass.
It was always a popular one with modelers.
Yeah.
It was always winning wish list polls and everything,
Yeah.
and nobody believed we were going to see a Blue Pullman set.
No.
It must have been quite a special moment when the first one landed on your desk.
Absolutely, with fair play to the team at Barwell, all of us have put a lot into that in terms of marketing and sales, but the R&D guys did a great job of it, and it's great actually because it has longevity. As we see this year, we're releasing it in a slightly revised format as a Western Region example. So hopefully it will enter a few more collections and be running a few more layouts in that, guys.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to it. We look forward to seeing how this year pans out.
Thank you for your support.